police in Bauchi State have arrested a 17-year-old boy, Auwalu Mohammad, for allegedly gouging out his younger sister's eyes in a suspected money ritual attempt. The horrific incident occurred on October 17 in Auwalu town, Ganjuwa local government area. The victim, 12-year-old Auwalu Mohammad, was reportedly lured into the bush by her brother before being attacked. According to police spokesperson SP Ahmed Wakil, the children's father confirmed they were biological siblings. Medical experts have ruled that Rukaya has permanently lost her sight. Wakil said Auwalu confessed to the crime, adding that 6 others were also arrested in connection with the incident. Those detained include youths aged 17 to 43 from Auwalu and Soro communities. Police say investigations are ongoing to determine the motive and uncover possible accomplices. The commander assured residents that all those found culpable will face prosecution. The issue of ritual killing has been a topic of debate and discourse on the show a number of times, but we've never had a 17-year-old in a while, intentionally plucking out his sister's eyes. What are your thoughts on this report?
It's such a scary and sad story. It just goes to show that things are not getting better. Instead, it's degenerating into much more worse scenarios. Speaking about ritual killing, that has always been an issue in this part of the world. For a teenager, 17-year-old, to literally remove his sister's eyes, like both eyes, that's way beyond scary. And it just goes to show that I don't know where we are getting it wrong. I know that it's the age of tech and all of that, and social media influences these young kids nowadays to want to move faster than they are supposed to move, in the sense that they want to have access to money, they want to have access to fame, or all at once, without working for it. And I feel that's where all these things spawn out from. But in as much as we can say that the side effect of tech, we can see other parts of the world, China, India, the West, US, UK, they are doing positive things with tech. AI. Why is it the big question to myself? After reading this report, is why is it affecting us more negatively than others? We are all in this computer age together. So I feel like we need to speak more about things in schools. We need to educate them that, okay, these people you are seeing online, not even all of them are real. And even if these things are real, they are procedures to making wealth. You can become a billionaire doing the right things. You can become a millionaire doing the right things, rather than being brainwashed. Because I've said it on this show before. I don't know if you can. I don't think anybody can convince me that a particular body part or the blood of something or someone is going to give me money. So I don't know if it's illiteracy, or ignorance, or just the sheer desperation for this wealth that they are seeing on these social media platforms.
Now,
and then again,
right. Please go on.
Okay, and then again, parents need to also watch their kids. Access. 17 is old enough to have access to the internet and a multimedia device. Yes, but then we can still keep an eye on them. Once in a while, check their browsing history, check their call logs. For the people they are speaking with, try to know the kind of friends they keep. Especially if you cannot, 100% like vouch for your child, you should be able to keep an eye on them rather, because nowadays kids are getting access to so much information, so much mixed information. I think there was a story I saw some months back about ChatGPT leading someone to commit suicide, a child.
Oh yes,
who was a teenager, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and his parents had to sue.
Yeah, I'm sure the creators of the AI ChatGPT did not even know it was, it's capable of doing such a thing, but if you don't keep an eye on these things, and especially as it's becoming much more advanced, would miss out on these things. And kids are very, very smart than back then. I'm not saying, our parents were not smart and all of that, but the existence of tech, the existence of internet has made, age not to be, proportional to the information and to the information kids have access to now. You'll
Right.
be surprised that some of them are even much more knowledgeable about things going on in the world than their parents, and that's because of the internet. So, and there's no way to sieve out the good and the bad things nowadays. I've literally been on TikTok one time, and I stumbled on the live page, like this person was on live,
The live
but
streaming.
it's more, yeah, a live session, and this person is literally a traditionalist. The Yorubas will say babalawo, and he's literally telling people, "Oh, I can do money ritual for you." That's
Why
basically
are
the
all those
tagline.
accounts allowed to air those sort of things? Why aren't they being blocked?
That is the thing. That's the big question. The internet now is available for all classes of people. Crosses boundaries, crosses culture, crosses tradition. I'm sure the TikTok organization probably cannot, the AI that governs the algorithm that governs the blocking of such content probably does not understand what is going on, right? It's probably new. It's new to the AI or to the system. So that's probably why it cannot literally kick such a session off the platform, right? And I think it has reduced, but I still saw, I think a month ago I still saw something like that going on, and the person was going ahead to advertise literally that, oh, I can do money ritual, showing off some monies, and
Right.
to the extent that some guys were already chatting in the section that,
Right.
oh, how do they do this, how do they catch up? And in the midst of those guys, there could be 15-year-olds, there could be 12-year-olds among them, and that's how they fall into, they get brainwashed into thinking that's a way to go about achieving, financial freedom.
But now you've talked about, pressure from social media, young people trying to uh, want to get there quickly. I remember the rubric from when we were growing up was get an education and every other thing will fall into place after you have gotten an education, because the idea is to at least, I think the crux then was to get into civil service so you would get a pensionable job at the end of the day. And now we have moved beyond that. But in reference to this particular story, I want to mention a case I did see a few days ago, I think over the weekend, of a 12-year-old boy on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a global corporate platform. And this boy was on that platform talking about how he's trying to scale his career. He's Nigerian, by the way, and talking about how, he was not in school just now because he didn't have tuition. He's a graphic designer. He was showing his talent and showing his skills and expertise and showing what he can do. He talked about him needing a phone to continue, doing some of the tasks and upskilling and learning. Now, when you look at such a child and you look at where he's headed, we did have a Nigerian child recently, beat the SAT exam, being one of the highest scorers in the world, a child from Graceland School in Port Harcourt, quite recently also. Now, when you look at the margin and the metrics of this, and you compare it alongside, meanwhile, the child that did win the essay or pass the SAT with the highest score is around the age of the 17. What do you think? How do you think is a difference in the way they were raised? Do you think these are the children that's striving to do better, don't have access to the internet, or the part of the internet that shows people on TikTok, teaching people how to do money rituals? Or do you think it's just a dynamic of, the whole, maybe no supervision by parents, then these children just trying to be like the people they see without having parental advice as regards that growth is a process? Which do you think it is?
I mean, this could be a conversation that could go on for long. That is because there are lots of factors to look at. Of course, the immediate family is part of it, parents and guardians. The school is part of it. The society is part of it. Of course, there are going to be kids that are good, that are great, just like the examples you are giving. So how do we now make sure that the larger percentage of our kids are more in line or more in tune with the web space positively. You know, like the kid on LinkedIn, like the guy that passed with complete, scores. It's all about parents playing their parts. You know, fine, you can get your kid a tab, you can get your kid a laptop. Keep an eye on what this child is doing. A child that spends hours on TikTok watching and commenting, and a child that spends hours on LinkedIn or a few hours on LinkedIn and goes back to study. There are differences, right? A child that stays on the internet for an hour a day and spends more longer time on actual, practical, actual studying is definitely going to be different from a kid that spends hours on his phone or on his tablet watching Facebook and watching TikTok. Because watching and doing nothing, I mean, an idle mind is the devil's workshop, right?
Absolutely.
That's because you are not literally practical about anything. Even if, as a kid, you are seeing good things on LinkedIn, if you are not practicalizing it, it makes it, I mean, there's no difference. It's as simple as watching it. So now, when kids are on LinkedIn, or rather on TikTok and Instagram, these platforms are not comparable to LinkedIn. LinkedIn, like you said, is a professional space. You'd hardly find such mixed content on LinkedIn. It's basically for serious-minded people. So that's one thing creators can trade towards.
All right.
Of course, there are legitimate businesses, people doing well on Instagram and whatnot. But why not try to show your kids focus on LinkedIn more than TikTok? Now, I'm not trying to sell any channel more than the other, but these are ways we can try to reduce. Then schools can also go ahead to ensure to remind parents, and nowadays schools have platforms where things are updates of school processes are being updated, right? From home as a parent, you can see how your kid is doing,
All right.
what they learned and whatnot. They can make these platforms much more robust in the sense that they are much more hands-on things for them to do. So parents can easily say, "Oh, go on your school portal and try to do some things," rather than just letting them, roam around on TikTok and the others. Then non-profit organizations too need to speak about these things more effectively. At least let us ensure that we are trying to reduce the percentage of things like
Right.
this happening. Because for me, I feel it's an unconscious and brainwashing process. I mean, I'm sure this is his sister for crying out loud that he has grown up with, but to easily just commit such a heinous act because of money, it just goes to show that he has taken in this information either from the internet, either from the friends he keeps. I mean, moving away from the internet, we can also talk about friends, peer pressure. Who knows, maybe one of his friends has done, in quotes, supposedly done it before and told him, oh, I've done this, and he has seen that this person is literally living big, in quotes, and feels he can also do that as
I
well.
mean,
So
but then again, when you talk about it like that, what then is the end goal? He plucks out her eyes, he takes the eyes, the parents' axis of her, she grows
he
new
starts
pairs of
living the
eyes.
life.
I mean, what is the idea? What's the rationale?
And that is the big question. Most people do commit crimes. If we are going to generalize it, then when they have been caught and you ask them, so what's the end goal? Most times you find out that they cannot even give you a positive answer. So it's more about the rush for at the moment. He wants to probably be rich, which is beyond his comprehension. Probably wants to be able to afford cars or whatnot, and does not care, who has to go down for it. I mean, in the process of doing this to his sister, I'm sure that's why I feel it's a brainwashing process. Because at some point, you're supposed to even sit yourself down and say, okay, if I even do this thing, even if I'm not caught in the act, right?
Right.
That's literally ruining my sister's life. I mean, it's not, you can't even, I'm speaking for myself. I mean, if I put it on weight, like to weigh the options, it doesn't add up because if I'm caught, that's a serious crime. My sister's life, her future is already jeopardized with such an act. So I feel like it's a brainwashing process at the end of the day. Most of these things, and I feel like people need to be more conscious Parents need to ask their kids questions. They need to be. I mean, at the end of the day, most kids, if not all kids, spend more time with their parents. Of course, they go to school, but at the end of the day, they come back at night. Back when we were growing up, our parents do ask us questions once in a while. Real life questions. What do you want to be? What do you where do you want to be in the future? What do you want to become? Questions like that. I don't know if parents even ask that again, but I feel like questions like that and more, not just that, would allow you to understand
Right.
the thinking capacity of your child. If you have a child that you ask today, oh, what do you want to become? He says tailor. The next day he says he wants to be an electrician. The next day he says he wants to sell provisions. At that point, you should know that such a kid can be easily influenced. I don't know if you get
Right.
psychology behind that. So that would enable you to keep an eye on such a kid. There are some kids that growing up, well, they literally know what they want to be. And in as much as sometimes it might not end up like that. At least it just helps the parents to understand that okay, my child kind of knows or has a path. My job now is to ensure that I guide my child. But some parents just leave their kids just roam around the internet to just have all sorts of friends, keep all sorts of company. You can't even tell where they are sometimes. That's when all these things happen.
Right.
Sadly.